Breaking news in a CBS Sports HQ. Late Wednesday night, Mets fans can breathe a sigh of relief. The club has reached a long-term deal with offseason acquisition Francisco Lindor prior to the opening day deadline. Lindor and the Mets have come to terms on a 10-year, $341 million deal that will make the standout shortstop one of the highest-paid players in the game and keep him under contract through the 2032 season. The Mets acquired Lindor this offseason in a 6-player trade with Cleveland. Here's a look at where that deal situates Lindor, and it situates him amongst the highest-paid players in the whole league. $341 million over 10, only surpassed in total value by Mookie Betts and Mike Trout. Let's welcome in our front office insider and host of Nothing Personal with David Samson. David Samson, thank you for joining us. David, the phrase last and best had been thrown around over the last 48 hours with the Mets and Lindor appearing to be at an impasse. What changed between then and now that allowed these two sides to come to an agreement?
Well, we have to wait to see whether or not there are any deferrals in this deal, because it's possible that the value of the original 10-year 325 is the same as 10-year 341 if there's enough money deferred. Remember, Steve Cohen's a Wall Street guy, so you could mess with the numbers, and Stephen Cohen, the owner of the Mets, could look in the mirror and say, that was my last and best, but we gave a little more money, but we deferred it. We just don't know. What we do know is that the entire shortstop free agent class that was due to hit next offseason is smiling right now because Francisco Lindor has set a number, a very large number, and a very deserving number for really the best shortstop in baseball.
It comes before his first at-bat as a New York Met, and paid handsomely now is Francisco Lindor. What does this do for this team in terms of the journey they're about to embark on? 162 games and a cloud that's now gone, no longer hanging over their heads. It was going to be an awkward day at the ballpark in Washington on Thursday. But to clear the air and have your shortstop locked up long term, what's this mean for the Mets?
I just want to say that what Francisco Lindor did is brilliant, because listen to what you're saying. The air needed to be cleared. The fans were going to be upset. Think about the pressure on ownership to get this deal done when this wasn't a deadline tomorrow. He's not a free agent tomorrow. He hasn't even had an at-bat for the Mets. But Lindor said, if you don't get it done by opening day, I'm going to be a free agent. And Steve Cohen and the Mets and Sandy Alderson said, whoa, we can't let that happen. We've got to have some sort of signing this year as a new owner to show that I'm all in and we're ready to win a World Series in 3 to 5 years. So Lindor and his agent played this perfectly.
Let's call this the final move of the offseason for Steve Cohen as the new owner of the team. Grade out that offseason and what he's been able to do over the last few months as the owner of the New York Mets.
I'm not entirely convinced when you think about what they were going after. JT Realmuto was on the free agent market, and instead they gave $40 million around to James McCann, really a secondary catcher. They wanted to sign Trevor Bauer to have an ace behind Jacob deGrom and ahead of Syndergaard, who's not going to be available until June, and they didn't get that done. They got Marcus Stroman only because he accepted a qualifying offer because he couldn't do better anywhere else. They have a really good team. There's no doubt about it. But they're playing in a division that is likely the best and deepest division in all of baseball. They didn't get better today this year. They already had Lindor. But next year, they definitely got better because they've got Lindor coming back. And that is what's important about the signing today. Not about the 2021 season. It's about the 2022 season.
Again, it's 341 over 10, locking him up long term. Francisco Lindor with that contract, that guarantee that guys are looking for. You talk about the market moving forward, shortstops, middle infielders. You talk about a guy like Matt Chapman at third base, who will all be coming to the negotiation table. Is it a matter now of what Francisco Lindor does under this contract that affects that market moving forward? Or is it just, that's what that guy got, this is what I want, let's come to the table?
Agents are really good at not looking at what players do once they've signed the contract. They just look at what the contract is, and then they compare the players at that point when the contract is being signed. So let's say Lindor has a terrible season. That's not going to change one thing about what Corey Seager wants or what Javi Baez wants. They're going to slot in right under Lindor, right where they should slot in. And for those who are saying that he's not better than Fernando Tatis, I should just point out Lindor is a way better player, which is why in the free agent years, Tatis is around $23 to $25 million in terms of AAV, but Lindor is just a far, far better player. I'm really happy for the Mets. I'm really happy for the entire league that it's showing that you've got a player like this. When you perform, you're going to get paid. We may be getting past the pandemic, folks.
Anytime a deal comes down of this magnitude, doesn't matter the sport, we like to say, oh, look at this a decade from now and it's going to be a deal. Do you share that sentiment about this deal?
No, when I signed long-term deals like with Giancarlo Stanton, I just sort of dreamt about what it would be like in 10 years or 12 years. And then all of a sudden it happens and you look back and you say, wow, those generally don't work out. Lindor's the type of player. He's just he's so good. There is a chance, very small, but there is a chance that he can perform at the current level that he's at for the next 10 years. But really, from the Mets standpoint with Steve Cohen, if they don't get a ring in the next 3 to 5 years with Lindor in his prime, then this deal will be looked back at as a complete mistake.
It cannot go without mentioning that at the final term of this contract, the Mets will still be paying Bobby Bonilla. I'm sorry I had to. David Samson, we appreciate you.
Want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis. No yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.